Hello everyone, this is Stephanie McDuffie with Weeks 10's Video Reflective Prompt and looking at the recommendations I reviewed for changing the curriculum for high school students in light of curricular goals for the age group, the three bases of the curriculum and curriculum criteria, and then what recommendations would I like to see implemented in the high schools area which I serve. So for me, I think when I was reading, the part that stuck out to me most, because we are such a leadership focused school at my elementary school, was the social emotional aspect. When these younger adults are entering high school, their bodies are going through changes, their minds are going through changes, they're developing still all of the critical thinking aspects that as adults we have. And I think that those need to be addressed more. There needs to be more of a focus on the areas such as dependency and responsibility and self-reliance and things of that nature, leadership skills. We're living in a global society now, and many times we're going to have to be working in teams, working with partners, working in groups to overcome and solve problems in whatever area or career that we choose to make our living in. And I think that a lot of times that's missing. I agree with many of you that testing is the focus of a lot of our high schools nowadays, and so that's really hard to do when we think about it, but we really need to start thinking about what is going to be best for our students in the future. They're not going to be taking test after test after test in their career. They are going to be problem solvers. How do we teach that? How do we teach leadership skills? How do we teach self-reliance and having the quote unquote grit, that's the new buzzword, right, to keep going. And so I think that that social emotional aspect of it, how do we teach children, young adults to stand up for themselves in a respectful manner? How do we teach them to go after the things that they want without, trampling over someone else, and how to communicate in a professional and respectable way where they can go for the yes but still accept the no? Those kind of things I think really need to start being taught more in a high school setting, really all school settings, but with all the changes that they're going through as young adults, I think it's really important there. And so that quest for self-identity, they're not just a number on a test or a number that raises the score or star rating of a school. How do we make them feel important, that they can go off into the world and be productive members of society? One of the other things that I was looking at were some articles just that I saw, and this one was from Mattern, and she was just talking about how to really prepare, how we can better prepare high school students for the world out there. And here are just some of her, this is just a little quick brief on it, but looking at how to expand knowledge and critical thinking and collaborative problem solving using technology and information skills. Obviously, those behavior skills that I spoke of a little bit ago. And then the one that I really thought I took a great interest in was that education and career skills needed to successfully navigate educational and career paths, including self-knowledge of abilities, interests, values, etc., knowledge about majors and occupations, and a variety of skills related to educational and career exploration, planning, and decision making. I think this is also something that we need to explore. We need to let students know that, as many of you stated, they're not all going to go to college. This is the reality that we live in. They're not all going to go. So what is the next step? What is the plan? If we can put students to work, giving them vocational skills or giving them strategies to survive outside of high school and make a living and be productive members of society, we need to teach them how to do that. I feel like sometimes, because of how test-oriented our nation has become, what we're seeing is students who falter after high school. They graduate and then they don't know what to do, or they get a minimum wage job, which we need minimum wage workers, but what else could they do for their career? Not just have a job, but actually have a career. And I think that's something that we need to look at. And I think with, career readiness, having people come in and explain different careers that are impacting our community, I think that would be a good thing. I know for me, I had a job readiness class in high school where I learned how to fill out a tax form and write a check and do an application for a job, things of that nature, where I think that sometimes those core things are missing out of high school because we're so test oriented and focused on just those core academic skills areas. One of the other things that she talked about was really exploring like the arts and that it's not always just about how smart someone is to be successful, but what are the other aspects of successful people and how can we encourage those in people who might not be as academically inclined, but they have perseverance and they have determination and things of that nature. Sometimes those people, she was saying, are more successful in college because they have those things, those skills developed in themselves already. Now they might not be the AP student, but they're being more successful because they have the determination to do so. Whereas the ones who might be so quote unquote book smart don't have as much determination because usually it comes easy to them in the academic areas, but once it gets to high school, it's a little bit tougher, and then they don't have that grit again to go ahead and further succeed, and then they might just end up quitting school or taking easier classes or the easier way out or expanding their time in college. Just kind of depends. I think those are some of the things that we really need to start looking at in our high school curriculums and areas of need.